Hello, it's been a while. Welcome to the Stalker Watcher channel again. So I've had a move and well, today I want to share something special with everybody. A little history lesson. I want to talk to you about an event in Winnipeg's dark history known as Bloody Saturday. It took place on June 21st, 1919. It was quite the thing. And the press sort of just kind of made it say the things that they wanted it to say. But let me read this to you because it's really quite entertaining and interesting at the same time. So it says that, this is all because of the Winnipeg general strike, which involved everybody, in all the areas of work of Winnipeg, right, including the police. But they were asked to not take part in the strike for obvious reasons. So let's go to the history of this. It says that, you know what? Let me show you some pictures. I'm going to let you look at some pictures first before I actually get into this, because this is something to see. I don't think I'm going to do my best here to show you these pictures. Alright. So the crowds were pretty intense. If you excuse me. We have some old cars, and look at all the horses. They had carriages, and it looks like they had snow on June 21st, 1919. Doesn't it? Yeah. Let's say that's snow. Oh, the car's parked there. There's snow on top of it. This is June 21st of 1919. Life was rough in Winnipeg. They're the mounted people. They called them something else. We'll get into that right away. There they are. There's some pictures. I thought you might like to see these. There's a trolley being set on fire. Alright. Look at the crowd. There's people on the floor by the curb apparently, and there's all kinds of... See what you can make out of that. There's another one. They're pushing it over. There was quite the riot there. And you know what? I'll just briefly let you know. This is all because of the same reasons that we would have a civil war today. And those reasons are, really crappy wages, couldn't make ends meet. Things were rough, just like they are now. Nothing different. So let's get into this. It says early that Saturday afternoon, a crowd gathered on Main Street in front of City Hall to watch a silent parade that was called not by the strikers, but by the pro-strike returned soldiers. All right. Winnipeg's mayor rushed to Osborne Barracks and requested that the Mounties come to the aid of the civil power. The response was 54 police on horseback riding north on Main Street. Dark intro. Okay. So Now, this is what the RCMP were called then. I'll read this to you. It says, the RNWMP at Portage Avenue. Some of the Mounties near the rear were in army uniforms and had been transferred from military to civilian authority. The Mounties rode 3 times up and down Main Street to clear the crowd from in front of City Hall and to prevent the parade. Interesting. Sounds like it was a protest and not a parade. But anyways. The first time, they broke into a trot as they passed the Union Bank building. About this time, the mayor read the riot act. The Mounties rode another 6 blocks up Main Street. What does that mean, he read the riot act? Does anybody? Okay. The crowd closed in again as the Mounties completed their first ride up Main Street. Some streetcars were being operated by citizens, committee volunteers, and armed militia. This was considered a provocation by pro-strike forces since the street railwaymen were on strike. As one streetcar passed in front of City Hall, a bunch of men got together, most of them teenaged boys, and heaved, recalled an eyewitness. Then the Mounties returned from their first ride up Main Street and were hit by a rain of stones and bricks. The second ride north of the RNWMP, this time without the men in khaki and with clubs in hand. A number of Mounties were hit by stones taken from a nearby construction site. 2 fell from their horses and were dragged to safety. The third charge, the clubs were in the left hand and the revolvers were drawn. The Mounties turned left onto William Street, charging directly into the crowd. And as they did so, they fired a volley. How horrifying. At least one onlooker was hit. An old man standing by the Union Bank. We know where the Union Bank is, right? It used to be across from the old police station. Okay. The crowd closed in again as the Mounties completed their first ride up Main Street. Forgive me. While the Mounties were behind City Hall, one man lay on the sidewalk in front of City Hall, apparently shot. Another was kneeling at the curb. Many people thought that the RNWMP were firing blanks until they saw men falling down shot. The return of the third charge recalled one eyewitness. They were running out of stones, and another fella, he was a real fanatic, ran up to pick up half of a brick. It was only 15 feet in front of a Mountie. He had just straightened up when he got it. The man was probably Mike Sokolowski. Probably. who was killed instantly by a shot in the heart in front of the Manitoba Hotel. In this photo, one man is lying on the curb and people are running to his aid. The Mounties are turned looking at him. As special constables, armed with clubs, marched out to clear the streets, some members of the crowd set the streetcar on fire. By 3:45, the streets were clear. These special police lined up across Main Street at Market Street and were carrying clubs. And they wore white armbands. That sounds a little Nazi-ish, but okay. Trucks with machine guns were mounted and brought out. Here, Mounties with rifles and militia line up after the charges on Main Street, just south of City Hall. Police and militia patrolled the empty streets as the city waited for the response of the strike committee. The strike organizers were incensed by the violence of the authorities, but they felt that they could not win in the face of the intransigence of the government and the city's employers. And there you go. Bloody Saturday.